Do you know how you can tell that no one cares about truth anymore? Well, there are countless ways, but one is by how you can see the word narrative just everywhere these days. I never heard that word as a kid. Even as a teen and early 20s, there was no narrative, no alternative narratives. Just a bunch of people doing their own thing. At least that's how it appeared to me. Of course, there was no social media, and so there was no constantly morphing conveyor belt of causes that we're all expected to get behind and show allegiance to and be an ally of, or else run the risk of being labelled a this phobe or that phobe or this denier or that denier or a bigot. We didn't have any of that shit. We had Pokemon cards, we had BMXs and football. People used to do their own thing. Sure, there's always been and always will be a organically occurring tribes, families, friend groups, cliques, gangs, etc. That's just part and parcel of living as a member of an inherently social species, I suppose, but there was certainly no grand overarching narratives that you had to belong to, certainly not in the way that they exist today. I mean, ideologically opposing groups weren't necessarily as imperative, and certainly not as inherently hostile towards one another as they appear today. I'm almost proud of the fact that of my various groups of friends whilst growing up, I pretty much always consisted of weird and wonderful and unique individuals. We didn't have a cause beyond having fun, you know? Long hair, short hair, heavy metal fans, hip-hop fans, male, female, shy people, outgoing people. More of a little community within a community than some sort of team with enemies and a cause and all that. Ugh. I don't know, call me names, but I miss the 90s and early to mid-2000s, yo. I swear people used to openly and more curiously discuss topics and spend less energy assuming they'd already been prescribed the correct conclusion by their own tribe's version of experts. Nowadays it's all in. You're left or you're right, or white or black, gay or straight. There's no grey area. Nuance is dead, and modern day politically charged hysteria was and is its ongoing funeral. Nowadays, you can't so much as express concern for the welfare of people overseas in allegedly war-torn areas and wonder how to help them without being accused of being a blue-haired communist baby killer. Similarly, you can't express concern, at least not publicly, about our rapidly changing cultural landscape without being accused of being some far-right Nazi-sympathising bigot. It's collectivism, it's divide and conquer, and it stinks. I blame primarily two things for what I see as the increased tribalistic hostility and decreased overall individuality. I blame the establishment media, and I blame social media. To some extent, the universities, although unlike establishment media and social media, of course, universities do occasionally churn out upgraded members of society with awesome and vital skill sets. But yes, it's sad, and I believe true, that somewhere between a combination of well-honed social engineering techniques employed by the media to divide and conquer the masses, and carefully crafted algorithmic divisions emerging and taking hold from inside of an increasingly addictive swath of technological gadgets and gizmos, the species does seem somewhat kind of finished. Technological advancement, technological development, the science, the progress of all things material, at the expense of all things spiritual, of all things human. God knows. All I can do is watch, share my thoughts, have some fun, have some eggs, and wait.